But what are scriptures? So Baldev Vidyabhushan, he writes in his commentary on Vedanta Sutra. There is a sutra called Shastra Yonitvat, which means scriptures are like the mother. If you want to know who your father is, yeah, you can do DNA testing, but it won't be 100% reliable because your father's brothers may also have similar DNA to yours. It's not 100% reliable. The best way to find out who your father is to ask your mother. So that is the example given in the scriptures itself. The best way to know who God is to ask the scriptures. Shastra Yonitva. The mother points out who the father is. The scriptures point out who God is. And what is the question? God is as such, it's a mysterious subject matter, not easily accessible unless one approaches it systematically. So first of all, we have to understand that how do we approach systematically? What's your name, Prabhu?
Mine?
The one behind you.
Steve.
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 So, I have met Steve for the first time. And have we met before, Steve? No. So, somebody comes and asks me about Steve. And then they say, well, tell me something about Steve's family, Steve's father. And here is what I'm going to say. Steve's father was the most important Scotsman alive in Scotland, in Edinburgh. And he was the richest man in town, and the most generous. Every Christmas, he used to donate 10 million pounds. And someone who was so kind, he could not see a single tear in anyone's eyes. And so on and on and on and on. I will go on saying this. So, did everything I say, listen carefully, did everything I say about Steve's dad, and by the way, Steve's dad's name was John. I've never met him before. And I'm not an astrologer or some kind of a mystic. But if I say this, did everything I say was good? Yes or no? Yes. Most generous man from Scotland, Edinburgh. The reality is, I don't even know if he's English or Scottish or Welsh or Irish. But did everything I say, is that true? See? So, saying something which is nice is not automatically equal to saying something that is true. There may be lots of people who say lots of things about God, and everyone from the cobbler to the priest will say something about God, and it all might seem nice, but it is not true. Now, my question is, why is it not true? Why is it not true? What was your dad's name?
Philip.
Philip, not even John. So the first one got wrong there. And you're not Scottish, were you? No. They're English, through and through. Now I'm saying the right thing, but yeah. And his dad was a humble man. He didn't have he wasn't a millionaire. Was your dad a millionaire? Multi-millionaire?
He could play.
He could be, he doesn't know. Yeah. Maybe in today's money, yeah. But certainly he didn't give out millions to people.
No.
No. So, everything I said, if you want to find out who truly was Steve's dad, who in this room would you go to?
Steve.
Why?
Because he knows it.
Huh?
Because he knows exactly what his father is.
Why he knows? Why you don't know?
I'm a stranger. He's his father.
Good point. Very good point. So, Krishna equally, I'm going to ask you a quiz at the end, so please pay attention. Yeah? So, Krishna equally, and I'll ask you the verse numbers. So remember the verse numbers. Yeah? If I remember, then you should also remember. So chapter 4, verse number 2. Chapter 4, anyone has Bhagavad Gita? If you have it on your phones, or there's a risk when you open your phone, you might WhatsApp and you might get diverted. Welcome. So 4.2, Bhagavad Gita. What is the verse? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Evam parampara praptam imam raj rishayo viduhu sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. Evam parampara praptam. This knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is attained through parampara. What is parampara?
Cyclic succession.
Disciplic succession.
Unbroken chain. An unbroken chain.
An unbroken chain. Para. Param means before and para means after. It literally means, the word literally means in Sanskrit, unbroken chain of before and after. Param means before and para means after. Parampara. It means unbroken chain. Like if I want to find out about Steve's dad, at least in this room, the best person is Steve. He's told us his dad's name is Philip. We can go him during the break and all surround him and ask him more about Philip. No, don't do that, please. But the point is, he can tell because he is in the parampara. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Evam parampara praptam. This knowledge has to be gathered from the right source, who are connected in that lineage right up to me, in the guru-disciple, in the teacher, the master and student relationship, all the way through up to Krishna. So he then introduces 4 bona fide schools. Srila Prabhupada, the author of the Bhagavad Gita, well, you can't call him the author, but the one who has translated this work for us, Srila Prabhupada is in an unbroken line of guru and disciple all the way up to Krishna. And if you read the Bhagavad Gita at the beginning, he has given his disciplic succession. So, evam parampara praptam imam rajarishayo viduhu. Those who are intelligent, Rajarishi, those who are intelligent, viduhu, they understand it through the right path. Those who are not so intelligent, they can ask their butcher, tell me about God. The butcher will make up something. They can ask their cobbler, they can ask anyone, you know. And God is such a topic that everyone has something to say about. It's such a cheap thing. People make it that they don't see any qualification to speak about God. The basic qualification is one has to come in the parampara. It's not very difficult to understand, very practical. Ask me about Steve's dad, I have to go to Steve. There's no other option. Ask me about God, I have to go to someone who belongs to that lineage, who has studied in that unbroken lineage. Only then I get the right. Only then I get the right information. Say it loudly. What do you get? The right information. But if I'm just after some nice information, I can ask my neighbor. He'll also say something nice about God. Everyone can say something nice about Steve's dad without even caring to know who he really was. Right? Nice does not equate to truth. First point. Second point, you have to go through the right chain, disciplic succession. Then you can understand the Bhagavad Gita. That is why Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is known as Bhagavad Gita
As it is.
as it is. Why as it is? If I ask Steve about Philip, he tells me as it is. If I ask somebody else, Jagannath Sutra Prabhu, and he'll tell me as he thinks, not as it is. That is why Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is as it is. It is in the parampara. It's an emergency. Eh?
Emergency to understand.
Yes. So, good. And the knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge given in the Bhagavad Gita, anyone remembers the verse number?
4 verse 2.
I'm going to pick random people and make it even more interesting. Which verse number?
4.2.
4.2. What does it say? It says about the unbroken chain through which one should receive this message. In fact, Krishna says, Sakale neha mahata yogo nashtaha parantapa. This yoga, this knowledge, nashtaha. Nashtaha means it was destroyed because of the great effect of time. Sakale neha mahata. Now, this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, the scriptures, it is complete knowledge. It is not knowledge which is lacking in any way. Should I give you an example first, or should I give you a direct quote first about it? An example? Okay, let's take an example. How many of you in modern day, everyone is going through some problems in life? How many of you are completely problem free? Raise your hand. Except for children. No, nobody, huh? Completely problem free. How many of you have anxieties and stresses of some kind? With your health, with your... Yeah. How many of you have anxieties related to something that you need to do, some work? It could be direct work, or it could be your homework at school, or it could be work at your workplace, it could be something you need to do about your health, some kind of anxiety for money, relationship. Yeah, there is anxiety. Good. So I'm going to give you one sutra from Bhagavad Gita to make it practical, to show you, to demonstrate how you can actually completely get rid of the stress in your life. Directly from Bhagavad Gita. And most of you in India have watched this B.R. Chopra's Mahabharat, right? What is that verse that comes right at the beginning of Mahabharat? And then towards the end? Karmanyeva adhikarasya ma phaleshu kadachana. Okay, verse number, chapter 2, verse number 47. In your head, yeah? 2.47. You can go home and check. And if I'm wrong, then come and find me, I'll give you a nice cupcake. Chapter 2, verse 47. Karmani eva adhikaraste. This is it. This one sentence, Krishna is getting rid of the stress in the mind of Arjuna. What is stress in Arjuna's mind? How will I fight this battle against my own folks? It's very stressful. Imagine if I tell you, go and fight with your best friend. You'll say, why? I can't do it. Okay, don't fight him, punch him in the nose. Don't just punch him till he bleeds. Don't just stop at bleeding, make sure you chop his head off. And make sure after you chop his head off, you make a dance of joy. You'll say, Prabhu, too much, impossible. This is what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Kill all of them. Why kill all of them? Because they are on the side of irreligion. This is another topic, but I want to go back into the practicality. Stress. Krishna says, because Arjuna is arguing, I don't know if I'll win this war. Maybe I'll win, maybe I'll lose. I cannot fight with my grandfather, great-grandfather, Bhishma. So most likely, when my arrows are aiming at him, I'm going to fail because my hands will be shaking. My heart will be trembling. And I'm not going to be able to shoot him. And before I can release my arrow, his arrow will penetrate my heart. I'm going to lose. And even if I win, I will not be able to enjoy without him. How can I kill them with whom I wish to enjoy the outcome of the war? Isn't it? So stressful. Krishna says, Karmani eva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Stress buster, biggest stress buster. How? What is he saying? Let's decode it. Simple English. Karmani eva adhikar. Adhikar means what? First of all, understand. Adhikar means?
Ownership.
Huh?
Ownership.
Ownership, yeah. In Gujarati, you Gujarati?
No.
Punjabi?
Kannada.
Kannada also adhikar, what is that?
I think that's it. Ownership.
Similar.
Yeah.
Adhikar.
Hak.
Right.
That's your Urdu word.
Right. Somebody said right. You have the right. Adhikar means you have the right, the ability, and the right. Karmani, to perform karma, you have the right. Your right only stops at doing an action. Ma phaleshu kadachana. Kadachana means never ever. Phaleshu means fruits. Phala means fruits. Ma phaleshu. You do not have rights to the fruits, to the results. Kadachana. Never ever. Simple words. If you're a gardener and you want to, say, sow a seed for an apple tree, you have no clue when you are sowing the seed and watering and making the soil right and then watering the plant, and when the tree is growing, can you predict how many apples will be there on the tree?
No.
What size those apples will be?
No.
Whether they will be sweet or sour? Cannot. So Krishna says, when you don't have the adhikar, there is no, it's beyond your realm. It's beyond your adhikar to be able to control, beyond your control, to produce the results. Why bother being stressed about it? You only have control over performing actions. You have zero control over the results. You just go on fighting dutifully. If I was listening to the second richest man in Asia, the richest man in India, his name is Mukesh Ambani. And his son, who is just getting married or got married, I don't know, his name is Anant Ambani. He was giving an interview and there was like a snippet, and the interviewer was asking him, what is the one most important lesson that your father has taught you in business? I mean, every minute, every single minute, they are earning in millions. So that's the kind of wealth they generate. You know, billionaires. So, what is that one lesson that your father taught you? So he said very plainly, he said, go on doing the right activities that you know are right without thinking of the results, because the results are not in your control. God is in control of the results. He actually said this. God is in control of the results. So you just keep doing the activities, and then he added, and don't do post-mortem. If you fail, don't keep doing endless post-mortem of why did I fail? Why did I fail? Regressive thinking. Don't get into that. Just, it didn't work, try something different. But keep moving on. The only way to act is to move forward. So, if you can develop a mindset where you know that your control, realm of control, is only action. Can anyone here say that they can do an action and also predict the exact outcome? Is there anyone here in the room who can say that? No. So Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, Karmani eva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Can the latecomers please settle quickly?
247.
Yeah, 247.
242.
No, 47.
Yeah.
Is it 42?
No, you
47.
You were saying 42 before.
No, he said 47.
I said 47.
Fine,
Yes.
Okay.
I've got it recorded.
That's fine, go on.
Oh, he's recorded it. Yeah. Okay. So the pressure's on. But karmani eva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You know why we feel stressed? What causes stress is not the action, generally. It's the anticipation of the outcome that causes stress, isn't it? And Krishna says, well, you are a fool if you are stressful, because the outcome is not in your hand anyway. It's gone. You've done the action, it's gone. You have shot the arrow, Arjuna. That's as far as you are in control. Will the arrow hit the enemy? Will it pierce the enemy's heart? Will the enemy die? Will he stand up again and fight? All of those things you do not have control. Karmani eva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Kadachana means never ever. Never, in no circumstance can you predict the result of any of your activities, and hence keep doing the right activities without worrying, without stressing about the result, which is not in your control at all. Is it making sense? Such a simple formula to get rid of stress. And actually this is only half the verse. I'm not even going in the next two lines, which will take another 10-15 minutes. Similarly, many beautiful verses are there. For example, one more example I'll give you. You know why we are all generally miserable? Generally miserable. This is our definition. How are we? Generally miserable. Why are we generally miserable? Because whether it's with our husbands or wives, our children, grandchildren, parents, uncles, aunts, whoever, relations, friends, we are constantly finding. Yeah. What are we finding? This age is known as the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. Which means we fight with someone about something which we ourselves don't follow. Yeah. Two thieves, after committing theft, looting a bank, they'll meet in a secluded place and they will fight about the share. And they will accuse each other of not being truthful. They're committing theft. And they're accusing each other for not being truthful. Isn't it? So this age is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. In brief, Shukadeva Goswami, after speaking the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto Bhagavatam, he is giving his verdict to Maharaj Parikshit. What is he saying? Kaler dosha nidhe rajan. This Kali Yuga is dosha nidhi. Fault means what? Dosha. This Kali Yuga is full of faults. Kaler dosha nidhe rajan. Nidhi means ocean. Dosha nidhi. It's an ocean of fault. This Kali Yuga is ocean of fault. You cannot, in an ocean is full of what? A normal ocean is full of what? Water. Yeah? Can I say, please, dip into some portion of ocean where it is dry, inside the ocean? It's not possible. So in Kali Yuga, Kaler dosha nidhi rajan. This answer has been given. It's full of faults. So now I'm facing a problem. I am generally miserable because I am always finding faults in others. And it has already been said that this Kali Yuga, this time period is full of dosha, full of faults. So I'm pretty hopeless because, how can I be in the ocean and then still be dry, isn't it? I have to find faults because this place is full of faults. So how do I not be miserable? Krishna gives answer. Being recorded. Chapter 13, verse number 9. Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 13, verse number 9. Yes. What is the verse? The verse says, Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshana. Krishna is giving a solution to fault finding. Practical. How ancient wisdom is being practically used. You cannot stop finding faults. So Krishna says, yes, please continue. Find more faults. But don't find faults in your neighbors, in your friends, in your spouses. But find faults instead in yourself. Not even yourself. That is too difficult. That is the most difficult. Duryodhan was asked. Duryodhan was asked and Yudhishthir was asked by Dronacharya. Please go and find someone who is better than you. Please go and find someone who is better than you and bring that person to me, Dronacharya said. So Duryodhan and Yudhishthir, they both said, yes sir, we'll go. They all both went. They both came empty-handed. So what happened? Dronacharya asked to Duryodhan, what happened? Why you couldn't find a single person? Duryodhan said, I looked around, not one person is better than me. So I can't bring anyone to you. Yudhishthir, what happened to you? Why you couldn't bring anyone? My dear sir, you said bring one person who is better than you. But I went around and I found everyone is better than me. I could not find one person because everyone is better than me. This is Yudhishthir's answer. So to become Yudhishthir is very difficult. Duryodhan we are naturally. By childhood training, we are nice Duryodhans. Or Duryodhani. So finding fault in self, Krishna says this is too difficult, Arjuna, to keep finding fault in you. No. You will be demotivated and you will be depressed and you will be emotionally damaged. So don't try to find fault in you. What Krishna says is very nice. He says, Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam. You found that verse? 13.9, yeah? No, wrong? It's not correct? What is the verse?
Yeah, it's part of the bigger set of verses.
Huh?
Yeah. It's there.
13.9,
9, yeah.
okay. No, you scared me. 13.9 is?
It's the second part of the.
Second part of the verse, yes. Dukkha doshanu darshanam. You do dosha darshan. Dosha darshan means you see faults. In fact, Krishna says, you know what? Anudarshanam. Constantly see this fault. What fault? Dukkha. That there is misery in this world. What kind of misery in this world? 4 things are miserable in this world. Birth, death, old age, and disease. This is the fault we should always see. We should constantly see Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam. No other faults. People have faults, we also have faults. The real fault is that this world is not for a gentleman to live or lady to live. Because the constant miseries are birth, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, janani jathare. This Shankaracharya is singing. Again and again I am dying and being born again, dying and being born again. Endless cycles going on. Repeated misery. Birth is not so nice. First of all, you are born, then your parents try to force feed you something you don't like. They dress you helplessly, everything, you know. And then you go into a school. I'm sitting in a school, I shouldn't say much. You know, you are forced to learn certain things. You don't want to learn, you want to play. So nothing nice. Janma, mrityu. How many of you all want to die? No one, everyone wants to be eternal. Okay. Mrityu, no. Not very good affair. Jara, how many of you want to become old man, old woman? With a cane, huh?
I think that question is very subjective.
Yeah.
Do you want to die? If you're going to go to Krishna, you're happy to die. So it's like, I'm living here in this material world, right? I'm happy to die now if I'm going to go back to Krishna, because here I'm wasting my time. There's nothing here for me.
Then the mindset is not right.
No,
Because
it depends how you think of it.
you
right?
asked your question, now let me
Yeah.
say. Because if you are Krishna conscious, you don't care whether you live here or you die, because your only goal is to serve. So you'll never think, if you're Krishna conscious, I'm wasting my time here. Never. Your life is life of dedication. Your life is life of service. Service to the Lord in this world, or the next, hereafter, or even in hell. Yudhishthir Maharaj says in Mahabharata, my dear Lord, send me to hell. What will I do there? I will, like this little boy was doing, I'll take Kartal and I'll chant Hare Krishna. Send me anywhere. I will serve. So, When service is primary, one does not think, I'm wasting my time anywhere. Anywhere we are not wasting time if we are eternally serving. So, but yes, death in that case is simply a change of service. Right now I'm serving here. After death, another body, another place, another time, I serve there. So that mindset. But generally speaking, ordinary people, they're all running away from death. Forget death. If the lady sitting next to you, please don't do it. But if you pinch her really hard, she will react. Will you not? You will. So what to speak of death? Death is, Garud Puran says, the pain at death is equal to 88,000 Scorpios biting simultaneously. Have you been bitten by a Scorpio ever in your life? No. Have you ever had a thorn prick you? Thorn or needle or something? A pin, yeah? Multiply that pin prick, multiply that by 100,000. That is one Scorpio. Multiply that by 88,000. Very painful. Now the lady, poor, she is pinching you or jumping up, and you are saying, "Am I okay to die?" It's just humbug. None of us are ready to die. Reality, because we are attached. You, me, same. You and me, we are same. Not ready to die. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, Jara. Old age. Who wants to be old? Ask the old man here. He will say, "I wish I was young." No. The gentleman, I know him. You ask me, my son will ask me. I'll say, "Oh, you are better off." He will say, "I'm better off." Somebody older than him will say, "He's better off." This is constant. Yeah.
I like the way you've explained that.
Yeah, because old age is not nice, honestly. When you are dependent on others, old age is not nice. Our friend here has an entire business caring for old people. You can ask him how many challenges they go through, right? Old age is not a nice thing. So, and Vyadhi means disease. How many of us want disease? No one. So Krishna says, please find fault. Your natural habit is to find fault. Don't find fault in others. Find fault in
Birth, death, old age, and disease.
Somebody is listening. Find fault in not yourself. Everyone. That is what you do anyway. He is really sleeping. Okay. Some people are sleeping. You can wake them up. Some people are pretending to sleep. You can never wake them up. Isn't it? Because they have unwilling ignorance. I will remain ignorant. Why? Because I want to remain ignorant. Okay. It is like the king who was on a boat ride with his minister. And the king he didn't know how to swim because he thought, I'm a king, why I need to waste my time learning how to swim. But he went to a nice boat ride in the middle of the lake. Suddenly the boat started rocking. And the king toppled off the boat and was in the river, drowning. And the minister said, "King, give me your hand. Let me pull you out." He said, "You idiot. Don't you know my crown is not on me? Put my crown on first." What will happen? You put crown on a drowning king, a 50-kilo crown on his head. Go faster. So ignorance is like this. Some people say, ignorance is bliss. Yes, it is bliss only till you get really, really beaten up. It's not bliss. Ignorance is deep ignorance. One who thinks ignorance is bliss is in deep ignorance. So, what faults we have to find? With what? 4 things. What are the 4 things? Now the gentleman behind you, with a nice smile, yes. 4 things. You find fault in 4 things. What are the 4 things? Okay, who can help him?
Birth,
Birth, death, old age. Very good. Repeat.
Birth, death, old age.
Disease. These 4 things are really, very difficult to get over. So Krishna is giving practical advice on how to get over these troubles. One, we saw example of stress, another fault finding. Fault finding is very, very common. I'm going to ask you, because you are a nice reciprocative crowd, I'm going to ask you a puzzle which is given in Vetala Vetala Panchadashi, which is a book where King Vikramaditya is pulling Vetal. Vetal is a hobgoblin, who dwells on a tree, and this creature is asking a question to the king, telling him a story, but he's also made a deal that if you open your mouth, king, then I will fly away. But then he tells the story, and at the end he asks the question to Vikramaditya. So this one story is this. It's a long story, and we don't have enough time. So I will give you the last part of the story. You have to give the answer, all of you. Yeah. There was once a very kind king, and he wanted to feed all the great mystics, Brahmana, sages. He wanted to feed the sages. So he invited many, many sages to come and participate in the feast that he was offering. And after the feast, he was offering some cows and some nice clothes and gold as donations, as gifts. So he had invited many, many sages. So many sages came. Now the cooks, when they were cooking in the open, for 1,000 people you have to cook in the open. So they were cooking. At that time, from the nearby forest, a vulture had captured a snake, a poisonous king cobra. Has anyone seen a king cobra in real life? Yes? I had an encounter with a king cobra when I was 12-year-old. We were in the forest with my cousin and in Rajasthan, and huge snakes out of nowhere, maybe 2 meter long. 2 meters from here to the wall almost. Long snake, black, came quick, and my sister cousin, she said, "Stop, don't move." So I stood there, and the snake went between my legs. The snake went. That was really frightening. Huge, dangerous snake, very poisonous. King cobra bite is one bite is enough to, one dose rather of the poison is enough to kill an elephant. Yeah, very, very. So this king cobra was captured by the vulture, and the vulture was flying with the cobra, and because he was in the claws of the vulture, he was spitting out venom. And that snake somehow dropped in the nice kheer which was being prepared for these sages. Yeah. So the cooks were preparing nice. And the idea about calling these sages for a feast was given by the queen to the king. So king is told by the queen to invite the sages. Sages are being invited by the ministers, because the ministers will go out and invite. The sages have come. Cooking is done by the cooks. kheer, and the kheer is now being served to the sages. So all the sages, they feel sick. They start throwing up. They start, all kinds of tummy ache, this, that. Any experience of eating snake soup? King cobra soup? No. So even I have not tried, but neither do I want to. But you can imagine this, and this is in the scriptures they have said, that this group of sages were all feeling really, really sick. That time, some more sages were coming to the party. And as they were coming to the party, there was one old lady who, because one of the sages, he found out that something must be wrong in this kheer. So they said, please, to the cooks, please check, is everything okay in the kheer? So with a huge ladle, the cooks were trying to mix the kheer, and they found big snake, the dead cobra. So they threw the snake out. They said, oh, very sorry. This is the matter. Okay. So all the sages understood. And as new sages were coming to the party, this lady, there is one old lady standing near the door. And she was informing the sages who were coming to the party. No, don't go. The king is feeding poisonous kheer to all the sages. Don't go. So she was stopping the sages. So this story ends. The Vetal, this hobgoblin, ghost-like figure, he's finished the story telling the story to the king, Vikramaditya. And then the question arises. This is my question to all of you. When all of these characters die, the vulture dies, the snake dies, the cooks die, the queen dies, when all of these characters I mentioned, when they all die, and they go to Yamraj, in whose accounts should Yamraj attribute maybe some sages died also because of this poisonous kheer. Whose account should the Yamraj attribute the killing of the sages to? Who is the person who killed the sages? Yes.
I would say the cook's brother, because knowingly they saw the snake drop.
No, they didn't see the snake drop.
Oh, they didn't see
No.
the snake.
No. It's not like the snake is dropping. Oh, very nice. Nice. Now snake. Not like that. Yeah.
Trouble with the old lady. No one else committed a crime knowingly. She committed a crime knowingly and said blaming whoever, but she had no proof that the cook's done it purposely or the king done
Okay,
it.
old lady. Any other answers? Very good. Any other? Yes.
Past karma?
Bad karma.
Past karma.
Past karma of whose? The sages. How Yamraj is going to attribute fault to the past karma of the sages?
I don't know that part of the question.
Okay.
But
That is the
because
question.
of past karma.
No, but this is the question.
I think
Okay.
it will be.
Yes, sir.
The invitations went out.
Sorry?
The invitations went out on
Ah.
behalf of the queen.
Huh.
So the queen.
Ultimately is the queen.
The queen,
Okay.
the queen and the king would both.
And the king, because he's the husband.
They
Okay.
both would take the responsibility.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I think it's the old lady.
Old lady.
Somewhere in the Bhagavatam it is mentioned that if someone speaks the fault of someone, he has to take up the result of that. So I'm just connecting that with this old lady. So she spoke up. That's why Yamraj.
Okay. Okay, good. Hold that. Yes.
Sages, because they chose to
Sages,
go to the feast.
because they chose to go to the feast. This gentleman, he has come today for the katha and the prasad. Anything goes wrong, don't worry. Don't worry. I got some packet of some ancient mentioned medicine, I put in your prasadam. Not my fault. Good thinking, but I like it. Okay, yes. Prabhu, I forget your name. Have we met? Oh, Adam.
Yes.
It's you. Okay.
I was going to say the vulture.
The vulture as well.
It's kind of like, to me, it would be like a ripple effect, because obviously from the one action, there was kind of like a spiral.
Ah. Poor fellow, he's just trying to eat his meal. He didn't choose to drop the snake in the feast or anything. It wasn't intentional. Anyway, so the answer the King Vikramaditya gives is 100% the fault of killing the sages should be attributed by Yamaraj to the old lady. So then they are saying, how? Because she was accusing the king, who was faultless, as he did not intend to kill the sages. He did not invite the sages with the intention to kill them. That fault-finding mentality of the lady who intentionally committed that act, because she is the one who is doing it intentionally. In fact, then Yamaraj says, if somebody commits a fault, commits something wrong, and if you, let's say if Jagannath Sutta, he's sitting here, and I'm really sorry to give this example, he starts using his pinky finger to go deep within his nose. And then he sticks it out and wipes on his dhoti. I'm sure he never does that. But I'm just saying, and then in front of all of you, I reprimand him. How did you do that? Go, wash your hands. I find fault in him. Now, can I find fault in him? As a speaker, at this point, while I am speaking, yes, it is within my remit to do that. But, so there are 5 people who can find faults and correct others. Who are the 5 people? Your teacher can.
Parents.
It could be a school teacher also. I mean, you are writing A as a V. Then they have to tell you, this is not A, this is V. Otherwise, nobody will learn anything if you never find fault. But teacher, yes. Trusted adult, which is usually a parent. Yes, very good.
Guru.
Third is guru. So one is adhyapaka, which is any kind of teacher, teaching anything. Guru is spiritual guru, or anyone who is assuming the position of a shiksha. Right now, I am, by the mere reason that I am on a sofa, you all are not. If one of you sits in a sofa here and I am there, then we swap position. I become like a listener, you become a speaker. So the speaker represents a lineage. That's the reason. No, not the speaker may not personally be great, but because of the representation. So if there is a guru, fourth, the king. Now we don't have, well, we do have a king. I cannot say that. I don't want to disappoint our. Who's the king? Steve? Charles. Charles? He's the king, right? Charles. Sometimes I forget. Charles is the king. Elizabeth, she has ruled so long, everyone still thinks she's almost present, right?
Yes.
Okay, so fourth is king, and the fifth one is your authority. So for example, at your workplace, you might have a boss. Anyone who is in the position of authority, yeah, that person can. So for example, you are serving at the temple, and you are serving in the pujari department, and you're putting your finger in your mouth without washing the hands, they will tell you off. Okay, authorities can tell you off. Temple president can tell you off. Some temple authorities, if you're doing book distribution, your book distribution leader can tell you off. Not just for the fun of it, but if there is a real reason, they can. So these 5, if you are not amongst these 5, and you find a fault, was this lady, old lady, amongst any of these 5? No. then it is said, if you find fault, I'll come to you one moment. So if you find fault with someone, even when the fault is valid, you get half the karma of that fault. Just because you gossiped about that person's fault. Sridhar Swami says, in his commentary of the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the episode of Shiva and Sati, that doshanu kirtanam, doing kirtan of dosha of others. Doing kirtana, we all do kirtan, na? Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Some people do kirtan of faults of other people. This doshanu kirtanam is the sure shot medicine for remaining in this samsara forever and ever. That's why if you are not in one of these 5 positions, no need to just find fault. And if you are observing something not right, approach the right authority, one of these 5. Yeah? If somebody's child is not doing something right, you don't become authority. You go to the parent. Tell the parent. They will take action. So, these 5, this lady was none of them. That's why she got 100%. So, fault finding is very risky. Yes?
I have a question. So I understand that the old lady was watching and she made the fault of gossiping, but the question was who was the person in the story that had killed that had contributed the most to killing the sages? By her gossiping, was that the reason for the death of the sages, or was it a consequence of what she did that the sages died?
No, it wasn't. It was just a chance happening.
So then why is it the old lady's fault then, even though like she didn't do anything specifically?
Apparently she didn't do anything wrong, but she accused the king of doing something that the king did not do. And she was the only one who did it willingly, knowingly. That's why fault finding is very, very dangerous. So, 4 kinds of faults we have to find. What are that? Janma, Mrityu, Jara and Vyadhi. Okay, one more question, yes.
Prabhu, thank you for your very, very succinct and astute, perfectly timed class. I needed to hear this more than you can understand.
I haven't finished.
But it's quite a heavy question.
Yeah.
But there are circumstances in all situations in life, in every single institution, where abusive situations happen. And they're very, very dangerous and very detrimental, and they completely shape people's faith.
Correct.
In these circumstances, we're not an authority.
Yeah.
And we may be in a situation where someone is revealing their heart and mind to us about something they've experienced from a so-called authority, so to speak, a case of abuse, so to speak.
Yeah.
And how do we deal with this situation?
Excellent.
Because in this situation, of course, you don't want to fault find, but there are so-called crimes that have been committed, and they're so detrimental.
I'll tell you a direct answer given in Bhagavatam. Yeah. 2 words. 0 tolerance.
Yeah.
There is 0 tolerance for anything that is criminal, abusive. 0 tolerance in Shastra for a simple reason. Anything of that nature is plainly, without any grey area, sinful and against every single authority. Now, dealing with it, we do have standard channels. There is police, there is standard government authorities. There are counselors who can counsel and help this person. If you are not in a position to make a direct, positive contribution, I'll repeat that, a direct positive contribution to that situation, then you must act in a way that you put them in touch with someone who can give them a direct positive contribution. We can discuss more if there are more details that you want to discuss. I mean, we know each other. So, but that's the truth. I think the challenge is most of us feel so suddenly empowered to act that we'll just act, disregarding the fact that it's. In fact, there are, and this gets really interesting because Scripture says you must continue dealing with that person until that person is thrown guilty. But that's also according to modern law.
Yeah.
So if somebody is in a position who has apparently done something wrong, and I know that person has done something wrong, I've been a whistleblower and I've actually informed the right authority to reprimand them, to correct them. And I know some corrective action is taking place, although not in front of my eyes. It is because I have informed them. Do I still continue dealing with this person? If the person is not directly abusing me or doing criminal act with me, if it's just like a transactional relationship, then we can continue. Transactional, just to be very clear, transactional which does not affect us. Of course, if the person is physically harming, mentally harming us, no, we cannot be interacting with them. But what I'm trying to say is that unless proven guilty, because there could be so many aspects to these kind of things, it's never a matter of straight, black and white. Sometimes it could be. I mean, if somebody stabs someone and kills that person, then yeah, it could be, and it's done in a marketplace in broad daylight, then yeah, it's even in those cases, and I'm not a lawyer, if there are any lawyers here, they'll tell you, there is difference between a manslaughter, a murder, and there's a difference between killing someone out of self-defense. So there's some. You could technically also, somebody could kill someone in a marketplace in front of everyone and yet not be.
Yeah,
there could be some. So it's just such a. But yes, if we are in a position of authority ourselves, we must very truthfully and honestly act.
But then, for example, through speaking therapies, we have to process these things.
Correct.
People who come into contact with a situation like this, it, like someone mentioned, it ripples.
Yes.
And it affects so many people in so many ways. And if you're not supposed to speak against someone, but you may be dealing with a lot of emotion, anger or sadness or so many things, how do you process those things without criticizing and without?
It has to be done in the right forum, first of all. It does not have to be in a forum where it's completely irrelevant. People around might be completely irrelevant to the topic, and you just raise it because it's in one's heart and we want to burst out. That's not approved by the authority, because what happens is we end up creating ashraddha. The reason is also given. Because, you know what, I'll give you this, and I'll pause and continue the class and then come back to your question. Any kind of these ripple effects and gossips and fault findings, even no matter how small they might be, they succeed in doing one thing, always. According to Bhagavatam, they create ashraddha out of shraddha. What does that mean? Yes. Suppose somebody tells you, this Kartik Chandra Das, who was there, I saw him, he's taking drugs every night. after midnight, he's loitering in the park in Ilford and taking drugs. Finished. One person told you that. Next time Kartik Chandra Das is invited here, certainly you will not invite yourself here. Because your Shraddha has changed to Ashraddha. That is why. And if somebody is very, very immature, their Ashraddha will not, if somebody is mature, their Ashraddha will be limited to the circumstance. Slightly less mature will be related to the person. The person is like this. Sometimes we all have faults, right, in ourselves. Now, my driving is horrible. Not for me, for the people on the road. Because I'm being recorded, I don't want to say this, otherwise DVLA will come after me. But, my driving isn't the best kind of driving, right? But that does not make me, just because I don't drive super carefully, doesn't make me a horrible person. But somebody can generalize, if his driving is so horrible, he must be a horrible person. So if you are very mature, you will be able to see the circumstance and limit your judgment to the circumstance. Slightly less mature, you make it generalized on the person. Slightly even less mature, you generalize it to the person and his friends group or immediates. Slightly even less mature to the whole community. Even less mature to the whole organization or the temple. Even less mature, the whole ISKCON organization. Even less mature, all of Hinduism. Even less mature, all of religions. Even less mature, all of humanity. I wish I was a dog. You'd end up there. So it depends on how level of maturity we cultivate. So I'll pause there. But Shraddha to Ashraddha is the one thing Bhagavatam says that we quickly, if I just say one sentence about Jagannath Sutta, he's a horrible, horrible photographer, which is an absolute lie. But if I just said that to you, you will not trust him with your old iPhone to photograph. You'll be like, no, I was told by Kartik Chandra that he's a horrible photographer. The reality is completely the opposite. He's clicked some of the most brilliant photographs, right? But Shraddha to Ashraddha goes like this. So one has to be very careful. Am I contributing to building Ashraddha amongst people? Responsible from the heart. Okay, one question which Rajnath Prabhu will not let me leave without. Is Krishna an ordinary person or is he a real figure? And the knowledge that we spoke about, is that, first of all, knowledge that we spoke about, is that complete knowledge in the scriptures, in Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna has given us? Or has he not given us certain things? Huh? It seems like a difficult question. Right?
So if the question is around, if we ask the right question in the appropriate forum, then that's...
is there anything that remains to be known after what Krishna has given us in the Bhagavad Gita? Is there anything that remains to be known? He's given everything. Yeah?
About spirituality.
Just everything that needs to be known. Okay, chapter 7, verse 2. Go on.
I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous, that this being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know.
Now, read the last sentence again. Krishna is saying,
this being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know.
Is this I'm not going to give a judgment there, but Krishna has given everything. But why Krishna has given everything? Because who is Krishna? Krishna is an ordinary person? Who is Krishna? Supreme Personality of Godhead. Says who? Says who?
The Vedas.
The Vedas say? Okay, Vedas say that, yeah? The Vedas say Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah? Go on, chapter 15, verse 15. Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 15, verse 15. What is Krishna saying? Anyone knows the verse? Yes. Adam is saying? Sorry, who's saying?
From me comes remembrance and forgetfulness.
What is the verse in Sanskrit? Okay, but correct, you're right.
Sarvasya chaham.
Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarvai ahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda videva chaham. Vedaischa sarvai, amongst all the Vedas, who is to be known? I am to be known. Who is the creator of the Vedas? I am the creator of the Vedanta Sutra. Yeah? Because you said that. But just because somebody says that he is the creator of Vedas, he is the supreme, so tomorrow I will also say, I am the supreme. In some nice voice. I'll say, I am the supreme. And I'll have a whole marketing team who will market me as supreme. So you should all accept me as supreme, right? Can we do that? No? Why not? And Krishna is claiming you are accepting him. Why you can't accept me?
Krishna is our Purusha.
Huh?
Krishna is our Purusha.
Oh, you're bringing some philosophical concept. But
it has to be supported by Guru Sadhu Shastra.
okay, now it's not just that Krishna is claiming he is God.
Others are
We will not accept. Krishna is, you will claim you are God, then why should I accept? What if Vyasa is claiming Krishna is God? What if Devala is claiming Krishna is God? What if Parashar is claiming, Vyasa's father also is claiming Krishna is God? The great sages are claiming Krishna is God. Come on, go on. Chapter 10, verse 12. Go on. Huh? Sito Devalo Vyasa. Go chapter 10, verse 12. Come on. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. Go on. Yes. Who is claiming? Can you read translation, please, Prabhu?
Yeah.
This is not Bible, Bhagavad Gita, 10-12, yeah.
It's a compound verse, it's two
Yeah.
together.
Please listen.
Arjuna said, You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest.
So number one, who is claiming that he is God? Arjuna. Next.
You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyasa confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me.
So, all. You are declaring it, Asita declared it, Narada declared it, Devala declared it, Vyasa declared it, and Arjuna says, I also declare it. Then it is God. So Krishna is not some historical figure. Correct? It's not some historical figure. So we see from Bhagavad Gita, if we read it thoroughly, everything is given. Which verse? Everything is given. All knowledge is given. Which verse? Come on. I told you I'm going to quiz you. Chapter 7, verse 2. Yeah. I wish you would have written this down, because you could have gone home and you could have read it. It's purifying. It's very purifying. It's very meditative. Yeah. Yes. Jnanam, Vijnanam, both. He's given. Okay, so I have to pause here, otherwise I fear I will never be invited again. So, that's not true. Is it time up, yeah?
I think we can go for another 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Questions, comments, corrections? Anyone? Steve, did it make sense? Yeah? Good. Adam? Where's your son? How is he?
He's very well.
Yeah? Vamana?
He's at home.
Yeah? His son was born on Vamana Dvadashi. And when his son was born, he sent me his son's photograph. I said we should name him Vamana, because he's born on Vamana Dvadashi. Very beautiful boy. Yeah? He's doing well?
He's very well.
Yeah. Nice to see you, Adam. Yeah.
How can we make sense of stories that are given in scripture that are difficult to make?
First you understand Bhagavad Gita. First you understand, don't go into stories. First of all, they are not stories. First you understand Bhagavad Gita. One gentleman in Africa. Prabhupada was in Kenya in a big program, Pandal program. Pandal or otherwise, but a big program on a ground. And one man after the class, I've heard the audio, by the way, it's audio recording, Prabhupada's audio recording is there. One gentleman stood up and he raised his hand and Prabhupada said, yes, what is your question? So he said, Swamiji, we hear about this Ras Leela. He's a black man, he's a native African person. He's saying, I've heard about this Ras Leela in Bhagavatam, and Krishna is playing with the gopis, dancing with the gopis. How I can participate in the Ras Leela? How I can get into that? Please explain. He's asking Prabhupada. Like you are asking how we understand these stories. Prabhupada's direct answer to him. First of all, you get rid of your rascaldom. Then think of Ras Leela. What did I say? Prabhupada's answer was? Then think of Ras Leela. Because everything is a process. So now let me make it not so bold, penetrating like Prabhupada. I'm quoting Prabhupada, but my point is this. You could have asked me, okay, I'm going to ask you all a question. Let's see how many of you can answer. What is the third law of thermodynamics? I'm an engineer, just to let you know. Third law of thermodynamics, anyone? Yeah? What is Newton's third law? Everyone should know that. Yeah, okay, every action has the equal and opposite reaction. What about third law of thermodynamics? I'll give you a hint. The law of entropy.
Entropy of the world, of the universe is increasing. Never increasing?
Not increasing. It stays constant.
Entropy is constant.
Entropy is constant, yes. That's the third law. But see, you cannot answer, but if somebody says, please explain to me thermodynamics, entropy, how do I understand? You understand first basic physics. You go step by step. That is the point being made. The point being made is to be able to understand the Leela of the Lord, one has to first work on understanding who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is. Who is Krishna? What are his qualities? Who are his associates? What is his position? Then one understands, God is not alone. He's not a bearded old man living on the clouds all by himself with a thunderbolt. Some cultures, they think like that, which is okay. If you don't have much knowledge, if you don't know who the school principal is, you might just think there is this fearsome beast behind that office door which you've never seen, who's managing everything. Because you don't know, you might imagine that person to be looking like anything. We have the description of what God looks like. If you don't have the description, you're free to imagine whatever you want. But understand Krishna first. Understand his associates first. Then you will understand there are different worlds. This is not the only planet. Then you will understand in different worlds there are different kinds of beings. Then you'll understand these different beings have different levels of consciousness. And that's why they are on different planets. Then you'll understand time is always existing, eternal. And it's cyclical. Then you'll understand the yuga cycles. Then you'll understand when and why, for example, the Samudra Manthan happened. You cannot jump. If one cannot understand simple thing like, okay, somebody even answered that entropy is constant. Next question. What is the meaning of constant and what's the meaning of entropy? Come on, tell me.
I got one question for you.
Huh?
I got one question for you.
Yeah, we'll come to your questions, but first you answer my question. Can you answer entropy? No. Because one has to do systematically. You will be able to answer that question. It's not tough. It's not a complicated concept. We understand Bhagavad Gita, understand Krishna, understand his position. And then the understanding of his Leelas will become clear. So it's not a question that can just be answered. I think that is where we miss the point somewhere. So one has to start with the Bhagavad Gita. Digest the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Which Bhagavad Gita? Any Bhagavad Gita is fine, isn't it? If I want to know Steve's dad's background, I can ask any one of you, right?
No.
You will all say nice things. So many Bhagavad Gitas will say many nice things. But the Bhagavad Gita has to be in parampara. Otherwise, nice but not right. You want right, you don't want nice. Understood? Yeah. Okay. One last. Any other questions, comments? Yes. Maybe you go first, and then. Yeah.
What is the role of Shiva?
What is the role of Shiva? What do you mean? What is the role of
Is
Shiva?
he a demigod or God?
He's neither a demigod nor is he God.
So where does the Saptarishi come from?
Where does the Saptarishi come from? Saptarishis are all born from Brahma.
Who do they pray? Who do they bow?
Who do they bow?
Yeah.
Who do they pray to?
Yeah.
Saptarishis, they pray to different demigods, but also to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No. Not necessarily Shiva.
It is?
Says who? Where?
Shiv Puran.
What chapter? What verse? Shiv Puran.
What chapter?
Yes.
The chapter.
So then you should read. Shiv Puran, Shivji is saying, the Mahatmya, he says that he who worships Lord Vishnu is more pleasing to me than my own devotees.
That's what the Krishna says.
No.
That's what the Maya says.
Who? Where?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. Where? What do you mean everywhere? What is everywhere? Give me a verse. Give me a chapter. Give me a location. I will tell you. Chapter 12, Bhagavatam. Vaishnavanam yatha shambho. Vaishnavanam yatha shambho. Amongst all the Vaishnavas, Shambhu is the highest. He is the highest Vaishnava. He is not ordinary. Shiva is not ordinary like you and me. Huh? I said he is neither a demigod nor is he God. Shambhu Tattva is different from ordinary demigods. He is not ordinary Devata. Otherwise, why we call him Mahadeva? He is not a Deva. He is Mahadeva.
So why is he demigod?
He's not
I just said he's not a demigod.
But you're saying he's neither a demigod or God.
Yes, so you,
So why is he Mahadev then?
because he is above the demigods. Yes, you're not understanding, right? So you have to learn systematically.
I will try.
Not through by just a rapid fire question and answer. And not without systematic approach. We cannot understand. Shambhu Tattva, Jiva Tattva, Krishna Tattva is not a matter of cheap rapid fire question and answer. If somebody asks a question, Bhagavad Gita Krishna says, if you really are genuinely inquisitive, approach should be, I want to learn. Approach shouldn't be, I want to prove you wrong, or I want to prove you. Hold on.
This is what
Hold
was
on.
told in the temple.
Huh.
The Shiva is demigod.
Which temple? What are you talking?
ISKCON temple.
No. Shiva is Mahadeva. Shambhu Tattva is different. Anyway, Bhakti Rasamritindu Rupa Goswami has explained very nicely Shambhu Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and Vishnu Tattva. There are three tattvas according to the Shastra, according to the scriptures. Three tattvas are there. Jivas are different, living entities like you and me. Demigods are like you and me, they are living entities. Indra is a living entity, like you and me. Jiva means a soul, an ordinary soul, who can become, somebody can become Indra by performing 100 Yashvamedhi Yajnas. They can become. Yes, you know that. So you also know, or you don't know, that Shiva is not a demigod. He's not a demigod. Yeah. Now I have answered your question. Have I not? He's not a demigod. Yes. So he is neither God nor is he demigod. He is a Shambhu Tattva is direct when, in simple words, when Vishnu enters in the universe. Within the universe, Vishnu acts as Shambhu Tattva. So actually, in one sense, there is no difference between Shiva and Vishnu. You cannot say, Brahma Samhita, chapter 5. What is the answer? Chapter 5, Brahma Samhita says, no, you learn, you listen. Chapter 5, Brahma Samhita says that just like milk and yogurt, milk converts into yogurt, they are the same. And yet they are different, isn't it? Milk and yogurt, they are the same in the sense they both, if you scientifically see it, they both have lactose, the protein lactose. So they are same in one sense. And yet they are different because they both have different effect. For example, if I have a stomach upset, the doctor will say, please take some yogurt. But instead, if I am too smart and I think, oh well, yogurt comes from milk, let me take more milk, it will worsen my situation. It has different effect. So these two, although they are appearing from the same substance, but yogurt appears from milk, not the other way around. Similarly, Shiva Tattva is like yogurt. Vishnu Tattva is like milk. Says who? Brahmaji. Says where? Brahma Samhita. Where? Chapter 5. In there he says, Dadhi Vikara Vishesha Yogat Yatha Kshira Dadhi Vikara Vishesha Yoga. I'm quoting you the verse. Just like Dadhi. Dadhi means dahi. You are a Gujarati, you know dahi.
I know.
And Kshira means milk. Just like from dudh you make dahi. You can't make dudh from dahi, you can make dahi from dudh. You can't make the other way around. Similarly, this Shiva and Vishnu both are not ordinary. They are not like you and me. We can never make that mistake. But at the same time, when in the universe Vishnu Tattva enters, it is Shiva Tattva. In simple words, this is explained in Brahma Samhita. So that is why Lord Shiva is not an ordinary person. We cannot take him cheaply. Nobody can become Shiva. Shiva is not something that we can become. It's not possible. And we should not disrespect Lord Shiva. He is the greatest of Vaishnavas. Vaishnavanam yathashram. So, okay. Any other questions? Time up? Yeah. One more.
I understood what you said, but I missed out some important points, so I wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
I understood that you said we should not find fault in others till we are not in those 5 categories. Don't try to find faults in ourselves. But you said find faults in 4 different things: birth, death, disease, and
old age.
I actually didn't understand that part. What is meant by finding faults in
Faults.
disease
Yes,
and old
yes.
age and birth and death?
Very good. Very good question. Very good question. It means when we look at the world around, we constantly remind ourselves that the real thing what is finding fault basically? Before I answer this, finding fault means we feel disgusted or something is disagreeable to us, isn't it? When I find fault on this wall, this tree is just, it's so weird. Why do you make a tree below Krishna? Yeah, this wall is so beautiful. Unnecessary you painted with tree. The tree is disagreeable to me. Okay? It's disturbing me. Correct? Krishna says, please remain disturbed like this, but be disturbed by these 4 things.
Okay.
Be disturbed by the constant misery, dukkha. Of what? Then dukkha, which dukkha? Ultimately birth, death, old age, disease, Krishna says. In fact, how Buddha became Buddha, Siddhartha, Gautama, is also through seeing these 4. That's how he became Siddhartha. Yeah. And these 4 are the real challenges of life. Anyone knows P.C. Sarkar? P.C. Sarkar, anyone knows? The magician, great magician, in Bengal. He went to New Vrindavan once. New Vrindavan, we have a farm community. Srila Prabhupada was present. And Srila Prabhupada in New Vrindavan, he was this Pishi Sarkar was there and he was entertaining the devotees. Yeah. And then at some point Pishi Sarkar was taking a handkerchief, putting on a rose, and then he's saying, okay, look, he would remove and there would be a white dove, a pigeon. Yeah. Then another time he would do something similar. He was just trying to really entertain. And then he did something extraordinary. He went around to devotees and said, okay, give me something, I can make it vanish. So he would take something, let's say a book, and he would put a cloth on the book, and in front of everyone he would say, look, there's a book here, and he would remove the cloth and the book is vanished. And devotees were very excited. They were giving some little items for him to vanish. At that time, he approached Prabhupada. Prabhupada was sitting and watching this show. And Prabhupada said, I also want you to vanish something. And he said, yes, Swamiji. And Prabhupada said, can you make birth, death, old age and disease vanish? And Pishi Sarkar bowed down to Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, that only you can do. Prabhupada ki Jai. That only you can do. Because by surrendering to the instructions of Krishna, according to the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, which verse? Come on, you should know. 18 point? Sure? 66. Yes, 66. 1866. Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. If you take shelter of me, Moksha Ishyami, I shall free you of all problems. Krishna is committing. His commitment is there. So, by Prabhupada guiding us to Krishna and us taking the shelter of Krishna, Krishna has given his word. He will free us of these four. And that Pishi Sarkar knew. So he said, Swamiji, you can do it. You can vanish, make these four vanish. So with this high note, we will stop. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Prabhupada.